Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy. Darling. Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Not bad, I hate that.
Oh, it's dead as hell, dude.
It's nearly there.
Almost as dead as...
Dead as who?
What the hell was his name? Oh, no, I don't
Is it
remember.
Ray Brower?
Is it Brower? Yeah.
It's
Ray
that Brower kid. This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. I'm Levi, that's Jordan.
Hello.
We're talking... If the name Ray Brower sounds familiar to you, and he's dead, I hate to tell you.
I know.
He died young, too.
He sure did, man.
We're talking about... So, this month, it's the start of summer. It's been getting very hot. I don't know if you could tell, Jordan, because I always look pretty red in this light, but I got very, very sunburned the other day.
Oh, really? Are you doing some yard work or what? What's your...
I did do
what's your
yard work,
excuse?
but we actually had a baby shower that was outside, and it was, of course, the day was super hot. Yeah,
I did see those
you were going to come to the baby shower when you were going to be in town.
I was invited.
But it was super hot, so what better way to start off the summer? We're doing summer movies, and the first movie that was selected was, of course, the movie we're talking about today, Stand By Me by Rob Reiner. Right?
That takes yeah, Rob Reiner. Yeah, Rob Reiner.
I always second guess myself on that for some reason.
Well, now since this is the second Rob Reiner film we've done,
yes,
and
Misery,
Rob Reiner's first Stephen King adaptation, or maybe I'm pretty sure it's his
are
first.
both
Yeah.
Stephen King
And
adaptations.
so he did Misery. So go listen to our Misery podcast.
Yeah.
And then listen today when we talk about Stand By Me.
Stand By Me.
It's a summer film, but it takes place in September.
Does
I
it?
don't know why it bothered me. Yeah, it takes place at Labor Day. It was like...
But it just seems so summery.
Oh, no, it's super summery. It's warm, and like they're talking... Because it's like Oregon. It's like a heat wave in Oregon, and they're talking about like... It is... I will classify it as a summer. September is technically kind of... Some schools don't start until late September. So it technically is summer. But I just thought it was funny when I was watching it. They talk about September, and I'm like... Oh, this
I guess
summer movie.
September is technically summer, I think. But the only reason it clicked for this because they talk about it in it like it's the summer before they start high school, and so it's like they're on the cusp of that change into like being big kids because they even say like before girls were important, you know what I mean? Right before that, and so it's just like it feels like in between. It's such a transitional period. Summer is the transitional period into, the adult, the fall of your life, the adulthood of your life. Anyway, so before we go on, let me read the synopsis. I did not write one because I literally sat down to write one, and I pulled up, I was like trying to, because I'll pull up like the Wikipedia page so I can remember everyone's names and like the name of the town and everything. And the first synopsis that showed up seemed decent, so I was like, I don't have time to write this shit. I'm gonna just read this one. So I'm phoning it in today, and also I've been slacking at putting them on the website because I haven't typed mine up in months. I write them all down on paper, and I don't want to retype them.
you got a pile of emails.
I see them every week. I do.
You got like 6 emails from me or whatever from the past.
I always feel guilty, but I was hoping you don't, because you never go to the website. I was hoping you just wouldn't notice, so I spilled my beans.
I go to the website. I actually made a little.
Did you go to there today? And you're like,
blast you.
That fucker.
No. Well, no. I mean, I look at it at least twice a week, but I looked at it. Travis let me know. He was like, "Oh, there's a little typo on it." So I went in and I made a correction.
Oh.
But I'm not putting you on blast. I'm just saying I do go to the website and I look at it.
What was the typo?
It just said like June's is gonna be or something like that. It was like you like, yeah.
It's like a weird plural or something.
Yeah. It's like supposed to be just June. But anyways, yeah. So it was a simple fix.
Thank God for Travis. He always catches our problems.
Really though, yeah, he's our little.
He's like an editor.
Our little dictator out there.
We're gonna start.
We appreciate it. We're better for it.
We are. Thank you. We're gonna start because we are deeply flawed human beings. So,
Yes.
So this is Stand By Me, directed by Rob Reiner, based on the story The Body by Stephen King, which a lot of people. Mary, I watched this with Mary, and she had no fucking idea it was written by Stephen King.
The second it comes at the end and the credit comes up, adapted by Stephen King.
What the
Victoria and I are both like, what the fuck? This is Stephen. I was like, wait, there's no like weird sex alien or like vicious dog.
He always, it's what's weird. It's like he wrote that, and he wrote like Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile, which Green Mile, I mean, has got like a supernatural edge, but like.
But so light.
All these like heavy, highly regarded movies.
Even Misery is like it's more violent, so that makes sense.
It's a straightforward thriller, yeah.
Right.
It's not what Stephen King's known for, It's not like The Shining or fucking.
It's not Langoliers where they're eating time.
Dude, that's a deep cut. Who here?
I know, dude.
If you've seen Langoliers, go comment on the Reddit. Tell us how you feel about Langoliers.
I wonder if Brandon Arnold's seen it, dude. I've been Brandon. Thank you so much for commenting on Facebook and like listening to us. It's like, dude, I was so like it's like grin like ear to ear, baby. It was like
I'm so happy.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I appreciate that.
I know you should.
I wonder if you've seen Langoliers because that's so bad.
Brandon's seen Langoliers. You should come on and do an episode with us one of these times.
Dude, oh my god, do you know how cool that was? I'm like, why haven't we like contacted East Hollywood and like
anyone?
Like, hey,
well, it's
have faculty or something.
Because we don't have any friends, dude. I don't even know if East Hollywood's still around. It's probably just a barren wasteland. It's like a burned down husk for all I know.
That's true. I have no idea. I see it off the freeway sometimes when I visit Utah, and so.
Dude, I haven't been on 201 on that stretch of freeway in like 10 years. So.
Yeah, dude. Have you been in Magna area? Like
I have, but I didn't take that. I didn't take that way.
Oh, you didn't go, yeah.
No, I didn't.
Well, anyhow, that was an old school we went to together in high school. So yeah.
Anyway, everyone, shut up. So Stand By Me. Okay. After learning that a stranger has been accidentally killed near their rural homes, 4 Oregon boys decide to go see the body. On the way, Gordy LaChance, Verno, Chris Chambers, and Teddy DeChamp encounter a mean junk man, a marsh full of leeches, and they also learn more about one another and their very different home lives. Just a lark at first, the boys' adventure evolves into a defining event in their lives. Short and sweet, but that's the gist. They go, it's a trek movie, they find out about this body, they take off across the land, they're like, it's 30 miles, it's them just hoofing it along these train tracks going to find this body because, of morbid curiosity, but also they think that they, there might be a little bit of fame in it. I mean, Gordy.
I do like that.
What's that? What's that kid's name? Why am I forgetting it? I literally just said it too.
Or was it Teddy? No, Teddy doesn't care.
No,
is it?
Teddy's
which
Corey
one is
Feldman.
Yeah, Corey Feldman.
Vern.
Is it
Vern? Yeah, Vern.
Vern cares? I thought Vern heard the info, right?
He did.
And he tells their buddies.
I mean, he brings the comb because he thinks they might be on TV,
They might have on TV. That's true. Yeah. But in the treehouse, so it's like that's my second favorite scene in this is that treehouse conversation is so cool. It's so like that's what the movie like captures where it's supposed to be. It's the time period.
Yeah.
It's like all the other set pieces are really cool.
They're smoking and playing cards.
They're smoking.
He has the pack
cards.
rolled up in his shirt and everything. He's such a bad boy.
Cool where like that's where like I grew up with a treehouse, and that's where your friends would come, and you could like all hang out on the treehouse, and like you would just talk, and it's like you just had your like privacy, and it's like I really like resonate with that, and I respect that, and I enjoy this, and it's really cool, dude. Like you'll read some Reddits, and like it's cool to get a perspective like how reaching this film is. Like I kind of watching it, and this time I'm like, okay, 4 rural white kids like. Coming of age story. I'm like, it really reflects me. Yeah, all boys, and it's very masculine. And I'm like, well, it reflects me. But then they do have. I mean, they clearly have like a tender side, and like they have that vulnerability.
Yeah, it reaches out to I think anyone because it's not just boys. It's growing up, and that's why this is the quintessential. Like everyone talks about the coming of age movie. This is like one of the main ones because it captures that in between in life so well. there's a lot of things this movie does right, obviously. Like, the writing's really good, blah, blah, blah. The fucking cinematography's good, music's good. The soundtrack's great. But the thing that really brings this whole movie together is these, I guess, child actors. But
they're straight up.
These young actors,
12, like,
and their
15 or something. Yeah, it was like
their chemistry together is
Dude.
on another level. Like, this
it's by design.
ensemble, this ensemble,
Right.
the way they act together as a whole is immediately feels so real, so organic that you're buying in no matter what. From the treehouse scene,
Yeah.
because obviously it starts with why am I forgetting his name? I literally just had it again. The main stupid character. Oh my god, Gordy, piece of shit. Gordy is an old man when it starts, and he's like, remembering back when I was the summer of '59. The summer, Jordan, of '59, I think.
I think he does say that, yeah, bro.
And he's like, I remember that, blah, 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 blah. And, but then the whole movie, the second you meet all of them together, it's like they immediately have this camaraderie that's just like, I don't know if I've seen that in another movie with, obviously this young kids, where it's just like, these kids feel like they've been friends forever, and it doesn't feel like there's a camera there. It doesn't feel like they're acting. It feels like they're just actually friends.
Right. And they straight up are, dude, because that's what they did. They moved him out. They moved him out there, and like 3 weeks before shooting, they were all like living together in a trailer out in Oregon where they filmed on location.
Just
and it's
actually
like,
living in the
kids were
treehouse,
just
smoking
living,
cigarettes.
Yeah, basically, dude. Yeah, they
Huffing
were like
paint.
living together. And they were, kicking rocks and like, but it's actually fun. There's some, I'll post it on the Reddit. There's like, some behind the scenes footage they're shooting on like a old, Handycam style, like just an old like family video camera.
Cool.
And it's just them it's them shooting shit and
Put it
like,
on the
just
Reddit. I'd love to see
goofing
that.
with each other. Yeah, it's really like it's really sweet and it's really cool and like it is great. It was their like coming of age. I mean, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube also where they talk about how like, it's been like 15, 20 years, they come back and they reflect on it and like how much they grew up and like how close they reflect with their characters too. That's what's like Corey Feldman said, like that was he's like, we are the same character. Like, my
River
my
Phoenix
whole life
doesn't
and
say
everything.
anything though.
Well, dude, River Phoenix,
Because he's super dead.
R.I.P. man, dude. Yeah, and it's
too
wild
bad.
because
He's super
he would have
talented.
been, God, yeah, he would have been so like,
Man.
he's like cut down his prime, dude.
It's funny though, Jerry O'Connell, the dude that played Vern, I couldn't place it.
Blow up.
Dude, I couldn't place it. I was like, I know that little kid's face, and he's obviously in a handful of stuff now, but it wasn't until I searched it, I immediately was like, oh, that's Sydney's boyfriend from Scream 2. That was like the first thing I thought. And then I'm like, oh, that's that guy. And that seems like a minor role, but that is a very important part of my film history is Sydney's boyfriend from Scream 2. I'm just saying. And I watched that recently too, so it's fresh in my brain.
It's fresh. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really remember. I'd have to see it again.
Go watch. I know this is a tangent. Just watch the Scream movies. I mean, they're not all great, but they're.
Well, I need to. I don't know if I've gone down the like whatever 5 or whatever the fuck, however many there are.
R5 now.
I don't know if I've seen all of them. But
yeah,
that's for a future podcast.
First, second, fourth, fifth, third.
Oh, okay.
Just
well,
but
I'll watch it in that order.
You should.
Yeah, dude.
Reminds me, we'll talk about this. I got some ideas about trilogies that we're gonna do for Horrortober, but
hell yeah.
But anyway, these actors, man, like this whole entire time I was like watching this and I'm like, I'm being blown away because they each have their scene. That's like, they're fun, they have the camaraderie, but then each one of them has their like monologue, like type super acting moment, like fucking.
Well, have you ever did you read The Body?
No, I was literally, because I watched this movie, I had the book. I used to have the 4 Past Midnight, the Stephen King book. And I always wanted to read it, and then I lost it in a move or something. And I was going to rent it, because I actually watched Stand By Me, like, last Wednesday. Like, I watched it, like, the first day.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because Mary and I were both up watching to a movie, and I was going to be like, do you want to watch the film club one? You know? And I was literally like, oh, okay, I have a week, and it's a novella, essentially. I'm like, I could read it. in the meantime, and I was gonna check it out from the library, but it was already checked out. So,
Dude, well, I know there's some narrative differences, but I'm curious if like they capture like the,
I could
I'm
see
sure
it because
Stephen King's a decent writer,
his
so.
serious stories. Because I mean, like,
Right.
Shawshank Redemption is quite similar to the movie, as is Green Mile. Is quite similar because I've read both of those. You know what I mean, and they're pretty on the nose adaptations. Because it's like, I think that's why I'm surprised more people don't adapt Stephen King's short stories, because obviously Stephen King adaptations are huge and are like, they're argumentative in quality. Like some are awful and some are decent.
Well, this is Stephen King's favorite, and I don't know if that's still, but in like 2007 he was in an interview, he talked about how this was his.
I don't even
his
think he
favorite
cares
adaptation.
anymore. He
Probably just gets the check and is happy, whatever.
Don't get me wrong, I love Stephen King,
But-
and I grew up. I learned how to read on Stephen King. I read
I
the
know, yeah,
I
you
read
like
The
him.
Stand when I was like 10, and
I'm neutral.
I love him. I've read easily 80% of all of his books, but like, he said he really liked the Dark Tower movie. So immediately his opinion is gone to me.
Oof. Well, that's no. I've never
this point,
respected his opinion
this
because he
point,
said The Shining was terrible, was a bad movie,
Right.
let alone and a bad adaptation. Which I'm just like, okay.
It is
I don't.
not
That's
a-
where I don't trust his opinion.
I've
but
had my opinions on The Shining. Did we? We did talk about The Shining briefly
we've talked
in a
about The Shining, but it was
Horror-tober episode.
yeah, it was hard. Yeah.
Because
Well, dude,
Shining.
Speaking of The Shining, this is a nice segue.
I'd write
They use. I wanted to know if you know this history. They use that so when the kids scrape up all their money, which is a really cute scene, they do that. I love that in like movies. That's a big trope where
7 cents
everyone
burn,
all the 7 cents, all the like travelers have to get their coins together, and it's
Yeah.
really funny. And they freaking they scrape up $2.37.
They do. Oh my God!
And it's
room
237, which is room 237 from The Shining.
Nice.
And so,
That is
what
nice.
the fuck is that number?
That's a fun Easter egg.
What is that number, dude? Why does Stephen King use it? Do you know? Does it come up in any of his other novels?
I don't.
Like,
So
is it in Dark Tower? I feel like that would be
is.
because Dark Tower is like part of his
It
universe,
is.
like big time,
But
like all of his universe.
His big number is 19 for some reason too. Is his other number, but in the book, see, that's the difference though. It's like, I think that in the movie, because the number in the book of The Shining is not the same as the one in the movie. So I think the movie is 237.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because that has had more significance, and there's the conspiracy theory around that from like Kubrick.
I know, that's-
Kubrick changed it from
yeah.
like 237,000 miles to the moon or something. Or I don't know exactly, but
Exactly. What
something
is it?
about
There's that documentary about it
him
where
faking the moon landing and everything.
I love that shit. That's so
But
cool.
that's a fun. Yeah, it really though. That's a fun Easter egg though about them counting the change.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. That's a good one.
Yeah, dude. I wonder what
Yeah,
the
there's so many
why
good
not-
little
yeah.
quips in this too. And it's just like, well,
Oh,
what am I
dude,
gonna
that-
eat? You can eat your own dick.
Yeah.
Be a
No,
pretty
they
small
really
meal.
yeah. They definitely dude. No, they definitely capture like that, the like the ribbing that adolescents do, that you do with your friends and you joke around. But dude, they have so many. So I'm mad. I started going through and writing some down, and it's like some that are like more known, like Give Me Skin, and that was like a big thing they did a lot. But then they keep calling each other like goochers, and like he goes to like catch cozies from the river, and it's like I think that's a fish, but what I read is like it's not a real thing. It's just like this made up thing. And Mortonite, they call each other like someone calls him a Mortonite. I'm just like I'm mad too because I forgot to write down some of the other ones in the freaking treehouse scene. They say like 5 or 6 like all these weird words to each other that I'm like, is this true slang or is Rob Reiner just in there like, they're gonna be like, these fucking gorpers, dude.
They have their own language.
I get, yeah.
I know.
Like, oh man, they were.
What is up with Rob Reiner? Can we take? I feel like now is as good a time as any
dude.
to be like, what's his deal? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I don't
he
know.
made
in South
some-
Park, he's
dude, that's all I think about him. Butter.
same.
Get the butter. More butter.
Yeah.
When he's
And I
trying
feel
to,
like
he's trying to expose
Yeah.
the cigarette companies. But Rob Reiner, man,
he doesn't like smoking, so
he's got some
More power.
good ass movies.
I mean, yeah,
But
he
then,
definitely like.
But then, dude, what happened?
I don't know, man. I only know. I'm only like familiar with,
he hasn't made he's made a lot of movies. Basically, he makes a fair amount of movies. He still makes movies, but he hasn't made a acclaimed movie that I can think of is since what, the early 90s. A Few Good Men. But dude, he had a good run right there at the beginning, man. 84 to 92. This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men. That is a fucking great run. And then, but the movies he's been making since then, it's the only one I really know of is LBJ, which came out 6 years ago, and apparently is terrible. And then The Bucket List in 2007, which he also did, which
that was his,
which was okay in its own right, but it's not.
But that
it's not a Stand By Me or a Misery or even When Harry Met Sally. You know what I mean? It's not one of those. I don't know what happened.
I mean, that's a pretty decent run though. Even still, to have to have a movie worm its way into popular culture, because it's Bucket List is
it was popular when it came out for sure. I remember it being pretty big.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, that was 12 years ago or something. So it's you're not looking at someone who's still relative, but
no,
I don't know. I mean, he says he has Spinal Tap 2 coming out, so
why?
I don't know.
Because he's I haven't made a good movie in 15 years.
Go back to the well, but it's fine. But dude, he really did that, and Princess Bride's really great too. And
I watched that recently. Princess Bride is pretty good. I want more movies like that. You know what I mean? It's like that medieval adventure. But anyway, this movie, I don't know, man. It does it for me, because I feel like as I was starting to watch it, I was like, yeah, I really like this movie, but maybe I don't like it as much as I remember liking it. Because it's not. I'm nothing about it is particularly special to me. It seems like, but then I started watching it. Well, that's what I thought. That's how I was remembering it. Yeah.
Kids, right. I know what you mean. There's no there are big scenes that stand out in my mind, but it's not they're not epic. It's not like this movie. I wouldn't be this is a movie you need to watch for filmmaking. It's definitely
it's well made. It's well edited.
Of course,
edited very well too. The excellent oldies soundtrack, which really gives it its vibe. And it's got a pretty good villain of just that sleazy greaser gang, and Donald Sutherland is Ace.
I know, dude. The Cobras, baby.
Dude,
that's so dope.
The Cobras.
And they're carving. And he's I'm messing up the snake, and it's the state park dude. I'm gonna get a Cobra's tattoo, man.
I know. It's he's a pretty good villain, even though he's fairly minor. It's more about them and their journey of growth.
Right. The villain is kind of just time.
Yeah.
It's
literally.
It's nostalgia and time.
Because how it flashes forward, and they're everyone's stuck in their ways, and I'm just a writing old man now.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's kind of that it's almost he's reflecting on his own life in that moment, and he's happy, but it also nostalgia is a pain, man. It's a tinge, dude. That's Mad Men, man. Mad Men did talk about nostalgia really well.
Yeah, this movie, Donald Sutherland, I think, is a great. I still think of Ace all the time, and that's how it's Stephen King. I literally even when the bully, it makes more sense in this, but this borderline psychopathic murder bully, that's in every Stephen King, any story about kids, there's always some bully older kid.
He's happy to stab him.
He's always got a knife. You know what I mean? It's because I feel like Stephen King must have thought that was I don't know.
Or he definitely. I mean, I would imagine so. Stephen King actually experienced the leech scene that happened to him. He
oh really?
He went through a pool and got leeches on him and stuff. Went through a forest swamp thing.
I hated every second of that. I didn't.
Dude.
I'm
it's so good though.
I do not like leeches. It's so good. He's you got something on your neck. He's I'm not falling for that. No, really, you do have something on your neck.
Yeah. No, and that realization is great, and that seems really fun. I love. So they built that. It's man-made, the pool, and so they built this. They built a pool, and they're all right. Because they want to be safe. They were they were going to have them go through an actual body of water, but it was that's not safe. They don't know if there's actually leeches. Who knows what's in this body of water?
Right.
They build it, and they didn't shoot in it. It sat in the weather. It sat in real life out in the middle of the forest for 3 months.
It just became
And it just
a bog
sat there.
anyway.
And it became, yeah. And so it was really funny how they were like, oh, we're building this for safety. Then it sat while they did other production, and then they come to it and shoot it, and they were like, nobody knew it was in it, but they still shot it anyways. It was like, it was like fine, but it's still just so funny.
Like
yeah, exactly.
Guy living in it.
It was left, yeah, dude. It was just like left in the wilderness. Whatever animal could go through there, whatever. Like, I don't know how long leeches take to grow, but
40% piss. I don't know. I've
Yeah.
always, I do feel like because I've never encountered a leech in real life, but I do feel like watching this movie, I'm reminded like, oh my god, yeah, leeches. I feel like watching it as a kid, like watching it now, I flashed back to seeing it as a kid for the first time and being like, I thought leeches were going to be a much bigger deal in my life.
Yeah,
like I was literally
Right.
like
quicksand too. I always thought
quicksand and
quicksand would
leeches,
be
dude.
involved.
I thought
It was
for
like,
sure anytime I'd get in a body of water, there would be like a 50-50 chance I'd get leeches.
Yeah. And then we're soft bodies, and we only go in like public pools, so it's like
Dude, I've been in some skeezy. I used to swim in the canal, you know what I mean, in Magna, and it's like I've been in some skeezy waters and like cut my foot on broken glass in waters, and I'm sure I would have got leeches. There was a rumor that the canal by my house in Idaho had leeches in it, but I did go in there one time and I didn't get any. So, but I was scared. I bet you that if anything, that one would have the leeches for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what this movie gave you, your leech fear. I would imagine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm like, I don't know. What's the fucking deal with leeches? Even though they're fun. This is now a leech podcast.
We'll get into
the bloodletting with leeches.
Bloodletting was really popular. Apparently leeches are like, they're not. I mean, they're just like, they're not very. They can be bad in, like, not a lab setting, but leeches are still used today in modern medicine. So
that's true.
They're healthy for them, dude.
Yeah.
They all got some blood taken out, so now they got more healthy blood in there. They're strong kids now.
There are really a lot of great scenes in this, though, the more I think about it, because it's like every scene does a thing well. It's either got the energy of the cast or it's got like the emotional weight.
Dude,
of, like,
and
the
like you said, everyone got their own. That's what I really respect. Is like everyone did get their own like personal time.
The characters are so well written, man. Like the scene where Chris Rivers Phoenix's character is breaking down to Gordy about how like he stole the milk money, but then he like returned it back, and then the teacher stole it and everything, and still blamed it on him. And just like how he's just stuck in his life and he's just bawling. I'm like, God, that just feels so real. Like that felt so raw. Like that is a moment where I'm like, man, I'm so sad that River Phoenix fucking died, because that dude would have been a star.
To imagine if we had River and Joaquin. Holy shit, dude!
I don't know.
Do you know how bonkers it would be? Like they would be.
I wonder what that reality would look like, because it's like I
guess it's true. Would Joaquin be as good?
I don't know, man. Without his brother's death having affected him in his way, maybe Joaquin lives in River Phoenix's shadow this whole time. You know?
Right. No, really though. That's the thing. You never know. Like as good as Joaquin is, I wonder, if River could have flown higher.
Yeah. Have you ever seen My Own Private Idaho?
I haven't seen any other.
It's been on. It's literally. I rented it one time, and I didn't watch it. It's been on my list forever. So, but now I really want to watch it because I heard that movie's really great too, because it's got like Keanu in it as well.
Oh, nice! Hell yeah!
Heard
he's in quite a few things, and so it's like I would love to.
Yeah, isn't he in like not Scanners, but like Sneakers or something?
Oh, there's one called Sneakers. He's in a crew Indiana Jones movie, but I don't.
Oh,
he plays young Indy in one of them.
That's my least favorite Indiana Jones though.
So,
The Last Crusade. But yeah, we realize you haven't seen any of them.
No, I don't know. Yeah, dude, I don't. Indiana Jones is never. It's like Indiana. It's like I hadn't seen Lawrence of Arabia. And so I'm like, I'm not seeing Indiana Jones before I see Lawrence of Arabia.
Well, now you have.
But now that I've seen Lawrence, so I'm like, okay, sure, I'll pop on some Indy one day.
Yeah, I told
pop
you.
Them on, baby.
Just watch Raiders. That's like everything to watch.
Sure.
Raiders Lost Ark. Yeah, he was in Sneakers. Sneakers was fun.
Yeah, Sneakers is fun.
Sneakers is fun, dude. All right. Anyway,
I haven't seen anything. But so, dude, this movie, like I know you say this is quintessential. It's definitely out. It's out there. This is a popular movie. This did great, and it's wonderful. I love it. I have nothing like
the coming of age.
My only critique, and this is a very soft critique. Their motive for going to see the dead body is kind of flimsy.
I'll kill you.
But as it progresses, when he talks about how like going to see this dead body is like an obsession now, like it's not really like he doesn't have a true reason for why it's an obsession. It's just kind of like the idea that like the fact that they've traveled, and at the end when he says we only were gone for 2 days, but if we grew up or whatever, it's like we felt like 2 years or something, but
grew more
it's like
in those
that,
2 days or whatever.
yeah, right. And that's beautiful, and that's why I'm saying it's a soft critique. It's just kind of that
but I think that's the thing.
The reason they want to go see it is kind of like
it's like
right.
It's like a morbid curiosity and an excitement of just like
I get it, and
rural town.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, I totally understand that like adventure of going to see, like, and it definitely is like it glorifies a bygone era where like you can just kind of walk through the wilderness, like you're not going to be fine. It's like I was trying to think of that now. I'm like, I live in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm like, you would get shot by a Proud Boy if you tried to walk through the fucking back trails of some area here now.
You literally,
like, if you leave Seattle City's limits, you're like someone's gonna murder you.
You'd end up at the club from fucking Green Room or something like that.
100%, dude. Yeah, you'd be on somebody's land, and they would definitely hack you down. So I
chop you
watching
up and
this.
blame it on the dogs.
Yeah, watching this, I'm like, and they get in that scrape with the junkyard dude, and I'm like, oh, and that dude, that's so beautiful. That writing too, I love. They capture like a child's imagination.
That's his big moment too, with his character being all like obsessed with his dad and all his trauma, and then Vern, he's even got his like cowardly moments that he's got to like overcome his shit. And him running down the train tracks. It's like that was some pretty spot on acting too. That scene that would be probably the closest to like the set piece of the movie, right? It's like
that's the most memorable for
tracks.
Me. The train, yeah. I remember pretty much like every heavy scene location where they camp.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like they stop at the junkyard, the train track, them in the like leeches area in the forest, and then those are pretty much the only sets
conversation
that are in the
treehouse like,
treehouse.
Talking about Mary was getting pissed while we were watching it because I was talking like a couple weeks ago about Goofy not being a dog. And then and then it came up in this, and she turned to me and she's like, "I hate you."
That's so funny, dude. I totally forgot about that whole scene when they're talking. He's like, "What food? What candy? Or what food would you eat if you could only eat one?" He's like, "Cherry Pez." And it's like
no question asked. Like
no questions asked. It's so good. Oh, dude, yeah. And I do love that. Like, all these people grow up to be handsome in their own right, but the fact that Vern is like he's like, I'm the fat kid, you wouldn't be making fun of me, and he grows up in Jerry O'Connell, man.
Yeah,
what a vision, dude.
He's a beefcake. Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. Funny though, Sydney's hot boyfriend in Scream 2. Anyway, it's
I'll go check it.
All these guys, man, like they all shine, and it's no, the character growth of each character, like Gordy, the scene that's most memorable for me, that always sticks out to me is his story of lard ass at the pie eating contest.
That's my. So if we want to, I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. That's my favorite scene.
Yeah, it's so good.
because of how far they push it, but yet it captures that imagination too. It does. He's a writer, and then he tells a story that he's been working on, and it's like it's so obscure, but it's so tight. It's such a good story.
So short. Like it's such a great little short story that he just tells around a campfire, which is just because it is. It's like it's
sensational
abstract,
for his
weird.
friend.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like but it's strong storytelling, and it's great, and I love. The filmmaking of it is beautiful too, dude. That the puke is amazing, and it's funny in IRL. Some people on set threw up. When everyone was puking on each other, there were some actors that just threw up in real life. I was like, oh, that's great.
Because everyone was throwing up blueberries, even the people who weren't eating blueberries. It was great.
Yeah.
I think what's so good about that is it's like it articulates like, you know, how he is as a creative and kind of like how his mind works. But also even more so it like solidifies who like Teddy is as a character, where he's like, and then what happened? You know, he's got that, and he's like, I don't know, maybe he went home and had a couple cheeseburgers to celebrate.
He needs closure.
And then he's like, no, what if he goes home, shoots his dad, joins the Texas Rangers? You know what I mean? Like, the fact that it's just like, it's so on point with this character, because it's like, I don't know, this movie does seem, and I think that's why I love it so much, it seems so driven by the characters. And we've talked about this a ton of times. Like, I can't stand when a plot like just does things because that's what the plot needs to do. Like this movie,
next scene needs to happen.
Yeah, this movie definitely seems like all these characters, like they have their quirks, but they're so well fleshed out. They're not like two-dimensional characters that are just like, I'm the fat kid and I'm the creative kid and I'm the crazy kid with the burned ear and I'm the bad boy. Like, they are all of those things, but they're like so much more three-dimensional, and they all have their moments to be written. And so like, not only are they well written, but since they're so well acted, they're just brought to life. And so I'm immediately sucked in to all the chemistry. Like, I could just watch all of them just having another. I'd watch a spin-off of them just palling around trying to get jobs.
Right.
Like
no, it would be, yeah, it'd be kind of interesting. I mean, it's like their ending is kind of that. It's, what is that? Like, it's tragic because, like, moving on, you know, it just kind of like, it sucks that like at the end. Oh, so and earlier, this reminds me of that ending when the four boys go away and they all split up, and then he's like narrates like he went on to do this, he went on to do that, you know. And it's that
Vern
like,
had like 2 kids, works at the fucking factory.
Right. Teddy's like
in and out of jail.
Yeah, right. He's kind of going down a path that,
unfortunately.
Like, unfortunate, and you kind of like expect it, and he's just kind of like, and it's just a bummer too because he's like, they're so hopeful for like the, you know, junior high or high school, whatever it's, you know, and he but then like they're like, yeah, we just kind of lost touch, like you do, you know, like you just
friends,
you know,
come and
you don't
go
talk
out
to
of your
friends,
lives,
and we all have that. And it's like, you know, you can project yourself on each kid, and so it's like,
and it's
perfect.
That's why this movie's universal, though, is because it taps into like,
right.
like just like a basic human truth of like, you know, things come and go. Like, it literally ends with, you know, the last words of the whole movie was like, I never had friends like I did when I was 12. Jesus, does any of us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really just got
like,
this. That's what really. That's like the thesis of the movie. It's just like there's a certain intense bonding that you have that there's no other time in your life where your friends are as important as they are when you're that age, and how close you can be to this person, because it's like after that sometimes you drift apart. You have other relationships that are close but in a different way. Before that, sure, you have friends, but it's about your parents, you know what I mean? You don't have your own identity, so it's like you're growing into yourself right before you really have all the horrors of the world and all the
burden with the responsibilities,
the burdens of knowing of all the terrible things about the world.
Yeah, man. I mean, and just lost. But I this movie is amazing. But my movie that I reflect with that's just this movie but baseball themed is The Sandlot, which clearly. We talked about this, and you don't really like The Sandlot.
I specifically didn't pick The Sandlot to go in the poll because I don't like it.
Because it probably would have won, and you don't like it. But I saw Sandlot first.
I would rewatch. I would rewatch it. I watched it a lot as a kid. And I didn't. And it bugged me, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why.
I haven't seen it in
20
20 years. I haven't seen it in 20 years, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's like I'm sure you'd. I bet you have like.
You know me now.
I don't know.
Probably.
Well, it's weird. I'm all nostalgic for it though, dude. I can't like. And it's not better than this movie in any regard, but it definitely it has more of like
it's like
I
this
just like it because it's a bigger
baseball
ensemble
meets Cujo, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it essentially is. It is just kind of like it's a ripoff and a more exaggerated, you know, idea of this movie. Like it doesn't hide that at all. Like it clearly is being Stand By Me, but like 90s version, and so. I like that movie more because of seeing it first, probably just nostalgia. It's clearly nostalgia glasses, and I haven't seen Sandlot actually for like 10 years or so. God, dude, honestly, back in like
maybe I will throw it
in LA.
I would throw it on a poll if I had a good one to put it against where I thought it would fight. I don't want it to automatically win.
Dude.
don't want movies to automatically win, but it's hard sometimes.
I know. Yeah, don't put Sandlot on. It's fine. I'll watch it independently. But it's like that movie is very similar to this film. Clearly, it's like literally it's identical.
Some movies from the era.
I saw it first. I love it.
So, I mean, obviously, still kind of skipping around a little bit. If this would be your, if you liked this, watch this, Sandlot.
Watch Sandlot. Yes, exactly.
Because the movie,
yeah, we've definitely.
The one that I was reminded of is obviously because I was actually like, oh, I'm in the mood for more of that, and I clicked on, like on Amazon or whatever. I like scrolled down and like see what's recommended, and obviously the top one that's always recommended for that, other than Sandlot, because that was as well, is The Goonies, which is like the other ensemble. It's also got Corey Feldman in it again,
and it's got and I think someone else too from this movie. I can't remember. I was reading somewhere that it was like,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's got Sean Ashton. It's got your main man Josh Brolin, baby.
I know, dude. Josh Brolin's dope. Yeah,
The Goonies.
No, Goonies is fantastic too, and that's I saw Sandlot first. Looks like before I saw Goonies or this movie. So like
The Goonies has definitely got more of the following because than Stand By Me, just because it's like it's got the adventure element to it and it's fun. The characters are not as soul crushing, quite as fleshed out, but yeah, this one is definitely more of like, what if we took the Goonies and grounded it in reality? There's no sloth man and no Ma Barker type villain.
They don't find a magical pirate ship.
Yes.
It's like they find a fucking corpse. So here you go.
It is. It's just so sobering too when they find the corpse and they're just like, we're leaving him.
That was told so well, dude. I mean, this movie, like, it is a solid movie, and I clearly recommend it 100%. It's like, it's fantastic. But the funny thing, when they find that body, I'm like, did he get hit by a train? Because he looked great. Has he been laying there for like 2 weeks? Because he looks great.
He's fabulous. That train preserved him. Bro.
Yeah.
He just dashed up a little bit. I know what was I saying? It's like, the train hit him so hard, lifted him out of his shoes just as it lifted his soul out of his body or something.
Yeah, dude. And I'm like, it's good writing. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. No. That gravity is like, it's when they find it, it's cool. Yeah.
So I'll say right now, since we're just talking about it anyway, since we're a little bit more free form today.
Are we just talking? Yeah, man.
I think let's talk my favorite scene used to be the pie eating contest.
Yeah.
I fucking love that scene. However, this time around, I do think it was actually the climax, which didn't used to be that intense to me, but this time, for some reason, I was more focused on, because I knew the main characters, but this time I was like, what makes the antagonist, essentially, the other, Ace and the Cobras, like, what makes them, like, what are they all about? And I was trying to fill out their gang a little bit, and so the scene where Ace is trying to pass the other guy on the freeway, and then he's like plays chicken with the log truck, and then the log truck swerves off because he just can't be got. He needs to prove his dominance at all points. Yeah. So that makes him such a dangerous person, because at that point when he gets there, when they're all talking shit, like he pulls out his knife, like he will fucking kill them. Like he'll
definitely cut him. Yeah,
he probably hasn't killed anyone before, but he'll kill them just to not be back down. But the fact when Gordy shoots off the gun, and he looks at him and he's like, he's like, suck my fat one, you dime store hood.
Hood. Yeah. That's
and
great.
He just like totally burns him so bad. And he's like, what are you gonna do? Shoot all of us? And he's like, no, Ace. Just you. Like,
yeah.
And he totally,
that shows his character too, because he's so self-absorbed. It's like, he like,
it does,
definitely
he's trying to spread it around. He leaves, and he's like, this is gonna come back to bite you, and then it never does.
It never does. Yeah,
that'd be fun. That'd be kind of fun if it did. Have a wacky sequel. Stand closer to me. That's the It's like a wacky
stood by you.
Yeah.
And it's
Stand behind you. But like, it's good for Gordy's character to kind of like step up, because the whole time he's dealing with like his grief of his dead brother, which is every time that happens, I'm like, is that fucking John fucking
That's
Cusack?
John Cusack. I know, right?
Every time.
I kind of forget. I'm like, oh yeah, John. I just think of John Cusack being like 40 or like 35, whatever. So I never like, now that I see him when he's like younger.
Even young John Cusack, I'm like high fidelity.
Yeah.
Or like,
Gross Point Blank is like where
yeah.
I like. Yeah, I can't remember if it's like Gross Point Blank or High Fidelity is the first time I saw him, so I kind of just always picture him then. But then he's also like not. He doesn't look old in those at all. So I don't know. It's just weird.
But
Anyway,
this is like he is like a full blown teenager. It looks like he's definitely
yeah.
youngin'. But
he's a baby.
I don't know. Gordy overcoming his grief and like having that, and his obsession about finding the body for him is like, you know, it's obviously like closure with his friends, like it's something he needs to do. It's closure with his brother, whatever it is, and it comes full round. He finds the body. And he's like, we're not leaving him. We're not taking him. No one's touched him. You know what I mean? He has that emotion. It is kind of an emotional moment, and he cries finally. He has his moment of crying, and he breaks down to Chris, you know, before the gang shows up and everything. And then that was just like his last stand of like overcoming, and that was like him moving past him.
Oh, he's standing up to his father and everything. Yeah, it's great.
Stand by me.
Dude, yeah. They stood by each other.
They stood
for quite a while.
And then it's like the song, you know?
Oh, right, yeah. Dude, I think there's like a version Michael Jackson did out there somewhere.
Did he?
Floating around. I think, yeah, he did it for this, and then like, yeah. Then,
Fuck
like,
you, no.
When you think of Corey Feldman and Michael Jackson, that, you're like, ooh, rough.
I hate everything about that.
That's awful, bud.
Dude,
but
don't
anyhow, let's
ever
move on
make
to...
me, don't prove that, because I never want to hear.
Yeah, it's probably like in the Disney Vault or something, so I don't know where it is. But
I'm sorry. I'm one of those guys. I don't like Michael Jackson.
No, I don't either.
I don't like his music.
It's all right, bud.
I used to not mind it, but then Man in the Mirror, holy shit, song played. I'm sorry.
You work at a grocery store, so
it doesn't anymore. Thank Christ.
Yeah.
If it does, if it comes back, so for like the first 6 years, it played like three times a shift.
Yeah.
At my work.
I remember that, dude.
I literally
I hated
the
the
first year I was like, okay. Second year I hated it. By the third year, I literally would see red, and I couldn't even listen to customers when it was on, because I had to like blank everything else around before I went on a fucking rampage. So if it comes back, I'm definitely quitting on the spot.
Yeah, just hand in your notice.
I'll just walk out. I just won't even clock out. I'm just leaving.
Where? So, can you tell me? I don't know if you signed an NDA or if this is legal. How does music play inside of a grocery store? Because I worked at a grocery store for like 2 years, and it literally, I opened. I was the one with the keys that opened the door and walked inside, and there was music playing. It's just always,
it's corporate.
Where does that happen? Does it exist? Is there a box where it plays? The volume's the same. Does corporate really like control it with like a fucking remote?
It's basically like a corporate type station that you're always tuned to.
Oh.
And the corporate, like they basically have like a set playlist running with ads obviously in it that runs just on a loop 24/7. It's like a 3-hour loop of top 40 hits plus ads that just plays over and over and over again.
They update it every 36 years.
They literally
like,
I think it's like they slightly update it like every 2 years, but even then it's like they shuffle some things out, shuffle some things in, depending on like the season and stuff. Obviously with like Christmas, it's always Christmas music. It's god awful. The first 2 years I worked at Smith's, Who Let the Dogs Out played. And because that's the thing, it's on like 3 or 4 hour loops. So if you work an 8-hour shift, you're like guaranteed to hear every song. I remember twice.
No, I remember
at least. But Man in the Mirror, we got off on such a tangent. Man in the Mirror was not only would you hear the Michael Jackson version, but there was a cover version because they must have get like some rights. So you would hear the main one and the cover version, each one like 3 times. You hear it like 5 or 6 times a shift. And that song's like 6.5 minutes long. Just thinking about it.
What you're telling me is next time we get together and we go to a jukebox, I'm putting Man on the Mirror.
If you want me to like commit mass murder, then yes.
All right, cool, yeah, can do.
That is, it's like my Manchurian candidate, dude. It will, it will turn me into some kind of machine, and I hate it. So stand by me.
To avoid that, let's talk about money and just go over to Money Minute here.
Sure.
I'll give you a little bit. Yeah. We'll transition smoothly into Money Minute. Real
Okay,
quick.
thank you.
This was. It's funny. I was like, wow, this movie only had an $8 million budget because it's shot literally in the woods. Like it's shot in a fucking treehouse and the woods. So you're pretty much,
And
you know,
you don't have to pay kids hardly at all.
Nope, you really don't. Yeah, that's the funny thing. You don't have to pay kids as much. So it's all children. The super cheap ass budget, and it grossed 52.3 mil. So it did
It's pretty healthy.
all right.
It's just pretty good.
That's pretty dang good.
And
That's what like movies in the 80s cost to make. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
No, yeah, it's fairly like, it's not like an independent low budget, but it's definitely a lower like studio film.
That's hella
budget.
yeah, that's hella low budget.
And
Like,
if it made 5 times its budget back,
yeah.
pretty good. And like, obviously we weren't around when this first released, but we grew up with it to an extent. And I'm sure my first time viewing it certainly was on a VHS. So I know that this did well in the home video market for sure, because it did. But that's the thing. It's a movie. It's what's always walks a line between, like, for example, Sandlot and The Goonies. It's a movie where the kids, preteens, young teens, before all the raging hormones, are the main characters. But it's for kids. They can be for kids that age. Like, kids that age can watch it, see themselves in it. Stand By Me is like kids that age, but it was definitely a hard R. Mostly for the language, essentially. It definitely had a lot of language. But it's like the fact that it's like, I don't know if that's how kids talk. I mean, certainly that's not how they talk now necessarily, but it's like kids do have this certain sense of like button pushing, vulgar, kind of just like being kind of just like edgy just to be edgy. And so it's like it felt so real in this, but it's like kids weren't watching this movie. I don't think on purpose, because I remember
I didn't even notice that it was R, but I mean, it totally like, why? Yeah, of course it's R. Like it definitely, all the subject matter and everything about it. But I could see it being like PG-13, maybe now in our 2022 lens.
It's cut an F, a couple F bombs here and there. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's it's for language definitely, yeah, and then probably I mean, I guess.
Intense,
but it just it is like
disturbing images.
The cobras are definitely pretty violent, but it's like, but even then, it's just kind of, no, man. I'm like, it's a 10-year-old should watch this movie. Like, I feel like it.
I think this is this would be a perfect PG-13 movie, because it's like, should be like a 13-year-old kid. You should be that age to watch this for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have any Reddits?
Yeah, I was. You read my mind there, dog.
Do a Reddit or two, and then we'll hop in the old Travis's DMs.
Oh, Travis. Sorry, my internet is being quite slow all of a sudden.
Oh, look who's slow now, man! I got a Cat 6 over here, baby. I'm sucking out that Ethernet so fucking fast, dude. I'm over here. Oh, you have no idea, baby. You know how fast I'm going right now on my internet?
Cat 6.
Yeah, dude.
I'm actually... So, yeah, we got quite a few comments on the Reddit. So, thank you for everyone that commented, because they're all fairly fleshed out, too. So, I'll read a couple of them. So, Remser Jam says, this movie really encompassed the beauty and pain of childhood friendship and growing up. I saw it in elementary school, and it was one of the first times I felt that it acknowledged that kids remember what they go through and it affects them. I know plenty of people know this, but a lot of adults have an attitude towards their children of expecting them to forget things like a puppy. I think about this movie a few times a week, at least, and I even started reading Stephen King's The Body recently because of it. I love this movie, and I'd love to see another movie in this vein with kids that look like me and my friends. We also grew up in lower working classes, but I'm an Asian female. My childhood friends are also girls. We don't have much in common now, and I think we all gravitated towards each other due to similar trauma. I kind of think that's also how the boys were drawn to each other. That's a good comment. See, and it's interesting because it's like, great. Honestly, it's like I connected to this movie, and I'm the exact opposite of an Asian female. And so I'm glad that it's like, That's the power of cinema, baby.
That does, yeah, that is cool to see. And I was actually thinking, I'm like, we still get. It's cool how like, I'm thinking like, Kids was another movie. If you liked this, go watch that.
I put Kids on the thing, but nobody.
Oh, did you? Oh, on the poll, yeah.
It was on the poll, but nobody fucking voted for it.
But dude, because Kids is that like that raw as flip.
That is
It's
honestly.
Like,
if you're looking for
like,
that raw, but like one that's gonna like.
I recommend you go. And it definitely it's still centers around it's still like, primarily white male, but it definitely like kind of encompasses New York, and so it's got like,
don't you worry,
more voices, but it's like it's raw. And
I realized when we picked this genre that I was gonna slip in a almost said Larry David, a David Clark movie.
Oh, David Clark. Wait, yeah.
Right?
Well, Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I know that's right, but I'm like
Larry Clark. Yeah,
Larry
Clark.
Clark. God,
Clark,
I said David Clark. See, I'm losing my fucking mind.
No, yeah.
I was gonna slip in a Larry Clark movie. So Kids didn't win this week. So on the next week's poll, I'm putting fucking Ken Park or something.
Crap neck. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's
it won't win, but
it won't win. No one's ever seen it, but those are
Well, because I keep trying to. I did Bully for True Crime Month, and that didn't win either. I haven't watched a Larry Clark movie in a long time, and we used to be obsessed with Larry Clark.
We should do kind of like hard coming of age or something. I don't know. That's like,
well, we haven't done coming of age technically.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
we could just do that because we were gonna do. We remember we got to find a way to sneak our movie on there.
I know, dude. Well, that's road trip movie. But anyways, fucking go.
It's a coming of age movie too.
It definitely is 100%. But read
it's
another.
All genres. So Colonel Barnsworth says, "Stand By Me had a big impact on me growing up. I think I was in 6th grade when my friend got a copy of it, and we watched it over and over. Tried to build a treehouse, converted an old shed into a clubhouse type thing instead of where we just play poker and tell each other to piss up a rope. Also inspired us to go on a camping trip on our own. We lived in Sandy, not near any camping places, but plus our parents wouldn't let us, and we didn't lie to them, so we rode our bikes down to Draper instead. So hardcore, but yeah, a lot of fond memories, and I think it set my expectations of what friendships could be with all the serious discussions that Gordy and River Phoenix's character get into, but also combined with all the goofy and somewhat scary stuff. I think that's a good good comment, because it's like, goofy and like a certain vulnerability and seriousness to like being open with someone about that, like, for the first time with like younger people, you're with peers, you know what I mean?
But
also
I grew up
that
with the
scary,
kids.
Yeah, also kind of that scary element where it's like, looking back, you're like, man, that was kind of dangerous. We shouldn't have done that. I'm curious. I'm curious who this person is, since they said they grew up in
Sandy.
They grew up in Sandy and rode down in the Draper. Makes me wonder if we know them.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I thought you knew everyone on Reddit.
I don't know. I don't. So I'll read this one too. I know this fucker. So Gummy Bear Attack says, this is my first time watching it. It's wild how many careers this movie seemed to have launched to the next level, and how many of them we still see today. As far as the movie goes, I enjoyed it. I think it's extremely well made. That said, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as everyone else seems to. I didn't see anything as really flawed or enjoyable. It just didn't latch its teeth into me. And I think a lot of that's like watching it now and maybe doesn't. It's like there is. I accidentally clicked out of it. There is a certain amount of nostalgia, for sure. But they also said, I didn't expect to see the dead kid's body. Bet Levi loved that part. My favorite scene is either when Teddy loses it at the junkyard over his insult to his dad, or when Gordy pulls the gun on Ace, who is sure Gordy won't shoot him, but not positive of it. Obligatory fuck Mr. LeChance. Thanks for that comment. I don't know why it's this running joke that I always love dead kids in movies. Because it's I don't know, it just always comes up. I'll always recommend a movie without even realizing that there's like a dead kid in it, and then they'll come back and be like, what the fuck?
I guess that's true. A lot of I
mean, there's a plot device often, and to be fair, at least it's somewhat original in this one. It's not like my kid died, and
it's funny as it is it's their launching, it's their inciting incident for them to go on their adventure, but there's also multiple deaths throughout all the kids' lives and multiple loss, and it's like that. So the theme is there larger than just their
right, and that's why it's that's why I feel like that's them trying to confront death in like a way that seems like something that they can tackle on their own by going to see this dead body, but they're confronting death in their lives because this is the first time a part of growing up is realizing for the first time that like, hey, everyone, grandma dies, the cat dies, your brother dies, like everyone dies. And that's a fact that, a lot of people still not like that's the whole reason religions exist, is because people can't grapple with the fact of death. And so it's just like, it really is in their own way. Yeah. Like you're saying, every character has some extent of like what that means to them, their like mortality and the mortality of those around them,
That's dope, man. How about we listen to Travis?
I know. I'm trying to pull it up. I was stalling and then I clicked the wrong button.
Well, he sent us 2. He sent one that's just like
2,
not to be played.
Oh my god!
I don't know. Read the transcript for one of them.
Nope. I'm just calling with a couple of recommend. Oh, is that the one that's not to be played?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't start with "Hey guys." Okay, this one does.
Oh, yeah. The hey guys. Okay. See if it works this time. God, I would love for it to work.
It'll never work.
Please just try it again. Just be silent though when you play it.
The question is, do I turn it way up so it'll try and capture it, or do I turn it way down?
Just, what do you normally do? I don't know.
I've messed around with it a couple.
Turn it way down, maybe.
I'm gonna turn it up.
Up. Okay.
So I don't have to fuck with the audio. But let's just see.
All right. Yes. Silence.
If the closing words that Richard Dreyfuss writes on the computer don't make you reminisce about your childhood, then I don't know what could. What makes this a great movie for me is that throughout the story, I was remembering my own adventures as a kid, some I haven't thought of in years. And although the brave risks in the movie are different from my own, I can relate to the majority of this film. I don't have a question, just a comment. During Richard Dreyfuss's narration, I was reminded of the narration in Goodfellas. In fact, I could imagine Ray Liotta narrating Stand By Me. Just like to say, rest in peace, Ray Liotta, and Stand By Me was a great movie. Thanks.
You actually heard it?
I did, yeah. Ray Liotta, dude.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. And yeah, you don't always have to ask a question, but you did remind me. Yeah. That was Richard Dreyfuss. I literally, when it first came on, I was like, is that fucking Richard Dreyfuss just sitting all pouty in that truck? And I probably wouldn't even thought of that except for we just watched Jaws. That's kind of funny. But this movie does have that vibe. Like, this movie's got that voiceover narration that, like, pulls off pretty well, because it's like sometimes, like a lot of people will say, like, as a writer, like, voiceover narration can be kind of a crutch, can be lazy.
Yeah.
But telling it from like a first person perspective really works in a lot of stories, and that's obviously why, like, so many books are written in the first person perspective, and most movies that have voiceover narration are based off one of those books often. And so it's like, I could definitely see, because Goodfellas has perfect. I can't imagine it without narration. It would. Well, I can't imagine it. But like, same with this
movie. The structure of flashback, like telling a story that's already happened with narration, it serves for that storytelling so much better than just if there's no voiceover and you just had him sitting in a car and then it just shows the kids. It would there'd be that bridge. It would be awkward to kind of
the voiceover,
try to connect that.
The voiceover is a really good glue to like stick all the scenes together, but also that's where you get some of the poetry in the writing, like where he says like all the shit, because he's a writer, and he's talking about.
Well, apparently that's not in the book either. The end writing, or maybe it's, I can't remember. It's either not in the book or it's like written differently, and how they structured it's a little better. But anyhow,
I'm gonna have to read it now.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful writing. I love that. Yeah, that ending is like, everyone in Letterboxd was like, quoting that, and I'm like, I get it. It's memorable for sure. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, even I do think it's like an interesting, because it's like so many stories are like, oh, I'm telling it this thing that happened in the past, and he's telling it in this, but it's like also in the present as he's writing it in a way, which I think is interesting because he mentions,
right,
when he sees the deer, and he just sees it.
That's a beautiful scene.
And he just like watches it in the early morning in the woods, and then like scampers off, and it's like, is that like his childhood innocence? His last.
I know. I wrote that in my notes. I was like, deer equals meaning ? And I was like, I kind of wanted to bring that up, but I'm just like, I haven't formulated a thought about
That's
it.
the only thing. I mean, like,
what it's supposed to mean.
There's so many themes about like,
yeah,
youth and growing up. And
I mean, is it? Yeah, it's supposed to be like. I thought it was like a tender moment between him and his brother. It's supposed to be the spiritual.
I think that's the thing. It could be all of those. It's him connecting to like this level of freedom. Like he feels like this is like, him letting go, this freedom. But even in that moment with the voiceover, it's interesting because he's like, I've never spoken or written of that moment until now.
Yeah, until now.
And so it's interesting the use of the word now in a voiceover narration when it's like, because it's like, obviously you sort of have two timelines, even though that's barely, not really, but I think it's an interesting, that is a perfect example of it being used correctly because it's actually, serving the story that right way and not just being like, I don't know. But anyway,
it's not filling in any gaps. But
no, it's just like a reflective moment of like, I was moved by that at the time, and I don't know what it meant to me at the time necessarily, but I feel the need to mention it since I'm telling the story, I'm writing it all down, because it moved me, and I've never talked about it to anyone else. It's just interesting seeing those events through that lens, because so much of the events in film in general happen like in the now. Like you're literally like they're running on the train tracks. There's no narration then. Like, can you? That would be terrible. It would take you totally out of the scene.
Yeah, it'd be goofy. Yeah.
It'd totally ruin the tension. But it's like he doesn't get splattered across the tracks because he's narrating the story and all that. But it's like it's just the way that it all comes
builds
together.
The tension really well.
Yeah, the way it all comes together. So this movie's pretty fucking good. So
yeah, what's your recommend if you like this? Watch what?
Oh yeah, Goonies. I think Kids. Honestly, I think Kids
is I was thinking the whole time. I was like, Kids is like
Goonies for a like tamer one. That's got like there's death in Goonies and thrilling moments, but it's an adventure movie.
Though, like
it's a wacky adventure movie. And then Kids for like if you want this coming of age story, but like just a destroyed generation. I don't even
the most like realistic. And I was thinking like mid 90s too. That kind of has that.
I almost put mid 90s, but I literally almost put mid 90s, and then I was like, I can't just put mid 90s because mid 90s it was good, but it just wishes it was Kids. It's just Kids with more skateboarding.
With more skateboarding, I understand.
And less AIDS.
There's no problem with that. There's no problem with that, man. It's like I can get on board.
Mid 90s is good too. Anyway, so. That's it.
I'm happy with this. Let's wrap it up real quick because I got a bio break. I need to go pee. So
bio break. That's fun.
Yeah, dude.
So yes, thanks for listening. That was Stand By Me. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks everyone that commented.
My personal life, everybody.
I just checked it. So we talked about how Kids was part of the next week's poll, and guess what? It didn't win. Wet Hot American Summer won the poll for next week.
Like, why?
Have you seen it?
It's great. I love it, dude. I fucking love it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you've never seen it? Oh, dude. So it's funny. Wet Hot American Summer is making fun of fucking sleepaway camp.
Is it?
I think, right? Or,
I know it's like the camp counselors. It's like the twist on that. I know. I'm like Paul Rudd's in it. I think.
It's funny as fuck, dude. It's got the dude who does like the voices in Bob's Burger. What the fuck's his name? Anyways,
I guess we'll have to just
now
find
maybe
out.
I'm tripping out. I know we'll have to watch it, but anyways, I'm gonna do my.
It. That's the whole thing.
We are watching it. Fantastic. That's the next movie. I'm getting aggro now here. I'm gonna say the Patreons. I love you all.
Thank you.
Follow us on Patreon. You get some sweet content, some delicious, juicy extras, and I have to thank Kylie, Landon, Thomas, and others. You're all fantastic. And if you want to call in like Travis does, feel free. dial us at 801-613-1501. Thank you all.
Bye.
Yo, you don't want to plug anything else? All right.
No, that's it. You got it covered. Patreon, Reddit. Go to the Reddit. Everyone in the comments. I love when you comment. Letterboxd. I like to see more people's views. Check out the Letterboxd.
Yeah, I want more people to follow me, dude. Letterboxd is great. All right.
Okay, go pee. Bye.
Bye.